Out of nowhere, current Everton player Andros
Yeah,
Townsend
that's what I was thinking.
went for the jugular for Jurgen Klopp. It did. I mean, that quote, I was looking on social media yesterday, and it's been lifted and taken by quite a few different outlets. He explained himself quite well. With the 5 sub rule, you have to have a minimum of 14 clubs in the Premier League to vote for it to implement change. So we know that there was a minimum of 14 clubs who will have voted for it. So it's not necessarily just Jurgen Klopp going in and saying, right guys, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to get. But on the 5 sub rule being introduced, do you think it does give the top teams, Shay, an unfair advantage on the bottom teams?
No, I disagree totally with him, to be honest. I think it's about time it came in. I think obviously you make 3 changes, but you make 5 subs. As I spoke to the guys out there, and they were saying about, say the likes of De Bruyne or maybe, I don't know, Jack Grealish or Raheem Sterling get to the World Cup this year. By the end of the season, they could play 80 games. Like, these guys are human beings, and people always talk about what the wages are on, but they're human beings. And I think De Bruyne recently has mentioned about the amount of games. You know, done some of the Nations League games for RTE back in Ireland, and you know, they finished the last game the 14th of June or something, you know, at the end of such a tough season. And I was even looking online, just the Lennon, who's just signed for Middlesbrough, for example, he's back training literally 13 days after the last game of last season. Like, these guys are humans, and the amount of, you know, stuff that takes out of their body week in, week out. And again, at the top clubs, it's every 3 days. You know, you could argue the bottom half of the Premier League, they've got a full week to prepare for the next game. They're fresher, they've got more energy, and yes, maybe their squad's not as strong, but at the same time, they're not travelling away to, you know, a foreign country on the Wednesday night playing Champions League football. And then maybe we talk about, you know, Jurgen Klopp having an early kickoff at 12:30. I think I'd done one of the Newcastle games at 12:30 after they had a big European game on the Wednesday night, you know. So they can't have it both ways. I think these players need to protect and need looking after, and I think it's a good move.
Just a quick one, agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think having the 5 substitutions benefits, of course, the top clubs have got better players, but it benefits the whole league. As you said there, Shay was saying there, the top clubs have to play every 3 days. There's a lot of games in between, and you need big squads. But also as well, the teams at the bottom half of the table, it benefits them as well, because they get to chop and change players in as well. So of course, if the bigger and the better teams are going to have better players. That's just how it goes. That's why they're top of the table. That's why they're at the top of the table. But I do think 5 substitutions for all clubs I think it's a good thing.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday morning 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.